Today we have a Whirlpool oven that doesn't click and has no spark on bake or broil. So no heat on bake or broil. We're going to check a couple of things. I pulled out the racks. I'm going to pull out 2 Phillips head screws here in the back, and then I'm going to lift off the bottom panel by coming up at about 45 degrees in the back, and then I'll slip the front part of the bottom panel out of the lip in the frame. And then I can take a look at the igniter and see what's going on. So when I press bake, usually you should get a spark. You should hear a spark and see a spark. And this one, we're not getting anything. And the same thing happens when we ask for broil. Up at the top, we don't hear a spark, we don't see a spark. So this can be caused by several different things. If you do have a spark, but it's just not lighting or staying lit, you just want to use some steel wool or a wire brush to clean the metal part of that igniter, and then it should work. But in our case, we don't even have any kind of a spark for either one. So I put the panel back in, I'm going to put the racks in, and I'm going to do a little bit more investigation. Most of the work now is going to be on the back of the oven, so just testing it here again, seeing if I might get lucky. I unplugged it, plugged it back in, but still not getting any sound or any spark. So one thing you can check too is pull out this broiler pan at the bottom and make sure there's no metal pans sticking up high, because they can actually touch the igniter and the spark will go into the pan instead of into the igniter. But these looked fine. I'm going to remove the door by pulling this latch back on the right and left side. I'll push the door in toward the oven and then it'll come right out. It's kind of heavy, so take your time and set it off to the side. So again, I'm asking for bake or broil. I get no sound and no spark. So I'm going to unplug it and I'll go ahead and pull it out away from the wall. It's also good once you get it out there, you can turn off the gas by turning the little lever located near where the yellow gas line goes into the wall. Now I'm taking off the back panel. There's a right side and left side that has a series of Phillips screws that you remove. And then once those are off, you can lift the back panel up at about 45 degrees. It'll come off. Gives you access to some things you can test. So if the igniter is not clicking, it could be the controller's having trouble. Could be there's something wrong with the voltage coming in. Could also be the DSI module that kind of makes the spark. Can also be the gas valve. So there's a few tests you can do back here. Just need a thing called a multimeter. We'll put a link in the description below for that. And I gotta remove this small bottom panel too. Just 2 screws come out. Gives you a little bit more access, a little bit easier to get to the parts. And then we're gonna get in here close and we're gonna get over by this circuit board here. We're gonna take off this white modular connector. We just have to push in on a little tab at the top and one at the bottom and pull it off. And then we're gonna use our multi-tester. We're going to set it for ohms, and we're going to test the gas valve down here to see. There's 2 gas valves, so make sure both of them have continuity that shows an ohms reading between 200 and 240. And if you get that reading, you know that the gas valve's okay. So you want to check between the red wire and the orange wire, and again you should have between 200 and 240 ohms. And then you want to check the other gas valve by going between the orange wire and the blue wire. And again, should be as high as 240 ohms. So when we did this test, we were able to see that the gas valve is okay because it had the right amount of resistance. I think one was 239 and one was 209, so that's within specs. The other thing you could check is to make sure that you have 120 volts coming into this DSI board. This thing we're testing here is what makes the spark, but it has to get 120 volts coming in. So that's going to be an easy test to do too. All you need to do is set your voltmeter to check for AC volts and then you got to plug it in, so make sure you're being cautious of the live power. Not going to get zapped here. And set your meter again for voltage, and then press bake and press start, and it should be sending power to this board. And you want to check between the white and the red and white for 120 volts, and then check between the white and the blue with the white line or tracer. And if you have voltage there, which we did, you know that the controller's good, voltage is good. So it's probably this DSI board is just not making the voltage. These wires I'm pointing to now are the ones that take the voltage to the igniter. And on the updated version of this oven, those wires have a coating, like we can see this brown coating, to help insulate it. If yours doesn't have the coating, it could be that the electricity is conductively leaving too early. The other thing to check here is with the outlet, you want to make sure that it has the right polarity, it was wired correctly. So you want to look at the small little hole to the left here and put in your multi-tester and look for 120 volts between that small one and then the middle ground one. And then you want to check between the larger hole and the ground, and you should have no voltage. The smaller one should be 120. Down here I'm just looking to make sure that that broiler pan is not touching the bottom of the igniter, because that would again make the electricity leave too early. Everything checked out, so it turns out that it was the DSI board. We'll put a link in the description below so you can easily just replace that. We put the door back on, so I push the forks back into the oven cavity, go down 90 degrees, I push these latches shut, put the panels back in, and we're done.